Thank you, Councillor Stevens. Clr Hawkins, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. What kind of alternate universe are you folks living in? For 10 years, I've represented Harbour Landing. For 10 years, people have phoned me and said, as Harbour Landing has become more and more dense, there's no place to put our cars. That's learning by experience. They can't find a place to put a second car. They can't find a place to entertain a guest. They are frustrated when they come home after work and have to park three streets or 4 streets over, only to have the person living 4 streets over to be frustrated when they can't find a parking space. And they're all frustrated on the days that it snows and the narrow streets fill in. I have nothing against public transit. I think it's important, and I think that people should have a choice to take public transit. I ask those of you who support public transit, to give cars their due, and for fairness sake. Now you may say cars pollute. Well, they do, but they're going to pollute less and less over the next 10 years, and by that time, they'll all be electric. Like it or not, and this will not change, in Regina, because of weather, because of limited public transit infrastructure, which will get better through time, but it'll take a long time, and simply because of culture, people want to own cars. And every one of you knows in a family that if you have a couple of teenage kids, you might get up to 3 cars. One for dad who goes to work, one for mom who goes to work, and one for the teenager who buys a jalopy. That's the reality that I think exists, and it's certainly the reality that people in Harbour Landing suffer through because of the chaos, because of the poor city planning that didn't leave enough space for parking. It is because I support density that I insist we must have enough space for parking. Otherwise, we have chaos. So for me, density means minimum parking spaces, and as Clr Bresciani has pointed out, 1.5 stalls seems to be a reasonable minimum. So I'm going to support her motion, and I'm also going to ask, as you think about this motion, to recognize not some dream state, but to recognize the reality of Regina, and to take a moment to think, maybe cars aren't all bad, because that's what the citizens of Regina want us to say. They actually enjoy their cars, and I have no problem with that at all, provided that we also provide decent public transit. I strongly support Councillor Bresciani's motion.